Alright, what's up everybody? One Piece chapter 957 was a massive chapter. And with any massive chapter, you can expect a lot of theories. And with a lot of theories, you can expect a lot of bad theories. And some good ones. So, I'm going to take it upon myself today to put these theories to the tests. This is episode 1 of One Piece Theory Busters. Now, I'm going to focus on only chapter 957 theories on this video just to test out this format and see how we do. I'm going to have two grades. I'm going to give either busted, which I mean the theory's probably not going to happen, or just I find evidence like otherwise to suggest it won't happen, or plausible, which means I could see it happening. Now, I guess technically every theory is going to be plausible because we don't know unless it's confirmed or busted, unless we see it happen in the story. But I'm not going to sit here and confirm a theory because I can't do that. Only Oda can confirm a theory. But I feel like I can bust some theories if there's contradictory evidence. So I feel okay giving out the busted term. Maybe in the future I'll give out some more grades here, like doubtful or plausible, stuff in the middle between that. But for today we got the two grades, busted and plausible. And just a disclaimer, if you see a theory on here that you support, or maybe you even like came up with yourself, and I kind of shoot it down, like, don't take it personally. We've all had theories in One Piece where we've believed them and Oda has just torn them down. So, I'm not saying anything about you. I'm just talking about the theories here. I'm only talking about theories. So don't take any of this personally. We've all been there. So without further ado, let's get to the first theory, number 1. Theory number 1. Blackbeard is the son of Rox. Alright, first theory here on our list is Rox being Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard's father. Now I'm going to give this one a nice big ol' busted because there's too many leaps that you have to, there's too many leaps of logic to get yourself to that. First of all, we know both of their full names, Rox D. Xebec, Marshall D. Teach. Now in Japan, the first name's going to come, or the last name's going to come first. So we have last names Rox and we have last names Marshall. Not the same. And I know you're thinking like, all right, Portgas D. Ace and Gol D. Roger. Gol D. Roger was Ace's dad, and Ace took on his mom's last name, Portgas. But first of all, Ace did not fuck with his dad, all right? Ace did not like Gol D. Roger, so it makes sense for him to take the name Portgas. Now, this whole theory is built upon the fact that, Blackbeard's kind of like the next Rox. He's showing him reverence. His name's the name of his ship is the Saber of Xebec. So you're gonna tell me that his dad's name is good enough for a ship, but it's not good enough for himself? I mean, if Blackbeard really revered his father like that, he would be proudly wearing the name Rox D. Teach, none of this Marshall shit. So I can't see it happening on that front. You can also argue that maybe the world government gave Rox the Gol D. Roger treatment where they hunted down his kids, so it would have been dangerous for Teach to have the last name Rox, so he took the last name Marshall. Now, I can't say for sure that they didn't do that, but, they added Whitebeard's, like, son. His name is, what was his last name? Edward Weevil. Yeah, they added Edward Weevil to the fucking Shichibukai, who's like part of the world government, part of the Marines. So they're going to add this guy's son to the government. I don't think they're giving everyone the Roger treatment, all right? I think the Roger treatment was special for the King of the Pirates, Gol D. Roger. So I don't think they would have necessarily hunted down Blackbeard. Now, if they did give him that treatment, then what's stopping Blackbeard from taking the name Rox right now? Because obviously the government wants to get him, but they can't. So if he just had the name right now, Rox D. Teach, they're not going to do anything. And I feel like that's a name he'd like to have if that was really his dad, and his dad is really the guy he looked up to. So I don't see this one happening. Again, another thing that I think that can shoot this down is Roger Luffy's dad. I mean, we know Luffy's the parallel to Roger in this generation. They beat it over our heads so many times that, oh, this guy was just like Roger. He's just like Roger. But that's not his dad. So if Blackbeard's kind of like that parallel nowadays to Rox, that would make sense. Again, just because there's a connection between two characters doesn't mean you got to leap to, father and son, that you got to find some more evidence for that. I feel like a lot of theories are born between a connection, You know, you find the connection and then you make a leap in logic, which is fine. I mean, probably a lot of good, really like correct theories come out like that, but I like a theory that has some evidence. So because of that, this theory is busted. Theory number 2. Rox was the original user of the Yami Yami no Mi. Alright, coming in with the next theory here, we have the theory that Rox was the original user of the Yami Yami no Mi, which is currently Blackbeard's devil fruit. Now, I'm definitely going to say this one is plausible, because it would definitely explain why Blackbeard was so interested in the fruit in the first place, because, alright, we've established the connection so far in this chapter that Blackbeard probably looks up or is at least aware of Rox D. Xebec and his legend and what he was all about, because he's currently on the island that the Rox Pirates founded. That's his kind of like base of operations, and his ship is named the Saber of Xebec, which, you know, Rox D. Xebec, his ship is named after the guy. So we can assume that this guy is aware of the story, and since he's going to name a ship after him, he probably looks up to him and kind of is following in his steps. So if he knew that this guy had the Yami Yami no Mi, he would have known that this is a powerful fruit, and he would have been very interested in getting it. So it definitely explains why he was interested in getting it. Now, I can also see this theory not coming true because, you know, Whitebeard would have known about the fruit, and, you know, the guy Thatch was on his crew who found the fruit. So, you know, it's kind of weird that Whitebeard didn't do anything or didn't say anything or wasn't looking out for it too, or the world government who was there during the, you know, the takedown of Rox, that they didn't go look for the fruit too, because, you know, they were there and stuff like that. But, you know, there's not a lot going for this theory. It's just a very simple, all right, his fruit, then now it's Blackbeard's fruit. So can't really shoot this one down. Definitely plausible, but it assumes that Rox D. Xebec is in fact dead. So that comes to our next theory, which is theory number 3. Rox is still alive. All right, so in the original translation we read for on the Jaimini's box scanlations, you know, it kind of left it ambiguous whether or not Rox was dead or alive, which from that, this theory was born. But in the Viz version, they kind of completely, I mean, not completely, but more definitively say, yeah, he's dead. So I don't think this one's true. I will say it's plausible, though, because, again, we didn't see him die, and we don't know the full story. So it is possible that this guy's still alive. But other than that, I don't see this one coming true. But plausible. Theory number 4. Raftel and God Valley are the same location. Oh boy, do we have one here. Alright, this is the theory that God Valley is Raftel. Now, I'm going to come out straight up and say this one's busted, and I think this is the easiest one to bust in this video, because there's so much evidence against this, and it makes no sense for these two to be the same island. To the fact that it's why I'm like baffled. I'm reading Reddit comments, all these posts, these theories, and literally like the day after this chapter came out, I already saw people using God Valley and Raftel interchangeably. Like people were like, oh, once they reach Raftel / God Valley, like meaning once they reach Raftel, already going to call it the same thing as God Valley. I think there's not even close to enough evidence to make this claim. And further than that, I think there's evidence to refute this. First of all, you know, we know everyone that was there. The Rox Pirates were there at God Valley. We know Garp was there. We know that Whitebeard was there. We know that Roger was there. All these guys were there, all right? So all of them would know where God Valley is because they were there. So why would Roger be, you know, sipping fucking sake with Whitebeard being like, you want to know how to get to Raftel? Like, if they're talking about an island that they had both been together, like, not only had they both been there, but they were there together. Like, they know they were there together. And Roger's just sitting there like, oh, you want to know how to get there? And then the Marines, they know how to get to Raftel. Like, I don't think the Marines know how to get to Raftel. Otherwise, they would go there. I'm sure they would go there. I think the Marines might have a suspicion on what the One Piece is, but I don't think they know how to get to Raftel, because it seems like Raftel's location was very hidden. It's secretive. It's hidden behind road poneglyphs. You got to read these poneglyphs to get to Raftel, to get the map. So I don't see this, you know, I don't see the Marines know how to get there, but if they were at God Valley, they'd sure as hell know how to get to fucking Raftel, and there'd be no need for the road poneglyphs. Yeah, like even the road poneglyphs, there'd be no need for the road poneglyphs if there are so many characters in the story. Fucking Big Mom, Kaido, they were all there at God Valley. Why do they even fucking care? Why do they have these road poneglyphs if they've already been there? Now, you might say, okay, since they destroyed or there's no evidence of a map of where God Valley is, maybe it got destroyed or hidden or something, and that's why it's so hard to get to Raftel. But, like, I mean, that is so... It doesn't make any sense, because why would they have made the road poneglyphs in the first place if it was so easy to get there? Because it seems like plenty of people showed up there for the God Valley incident. So the existence of the road poneglyphs being carved hundreds of years ago, which suggests that this is a secret hidden location, and it always has been. I mean, why would Roger have shown up to God Valley then, years later, like I think it was 38 years ago was the God Valley incident. He died 22 years ago. So there's a time in between there, about 16 years, where, he was doing other shit, but then he did his final voyage. He did his final voyage looking for Raftel, getting the poneglyphs, delivering the real poneglyph, probably searching out the road poneglyphs and finding Raftel. He did that all on his final voyage. It would make no sense if he had already been there for him to, do that final voyage with the road poneglyphs. Especially, it would make no sense that if they had found God Valley and it was Raftel, let's just say someone found it in the first place. They found Raftel, which is God Valley. They fought there, the government destroyed it, and then they couldn't find it, and then Roger goes out and finds the road poneglyphs and gets back there. Like, he had already been there. It makes no sense. This one, I'm definitely 100% confident in saying it is busted without a doubt. Theory number 5. Rox is Im-sama. All right, for our next theory, we have Rox is Im-sama. Now, I kind of want to say this one's busted, but I don't have any evidence to the contrary. So I'm going to say it's plausible, but doubtful. I don't think he is Im-sama because, again, there's a lot of leaps in logic you have to make to put these two together. I mean, first of all, it seems like Im-sama has been around for a while, but there's no evidence for that, so I'm not going to use that. But secondly, okay, let's just say he became king 38 years ago, and then they hid this incident, and they're still talking about him as if he's a pirate. Like, I guess maybe the Sengoku and all those guys wouldn't know that he became king, but, like, it's just kind of like, all right, was there no king before that, and then he became king, or was there a king before that? There's a lot of weird things that would have to be explained. But I think a more likely explanation is that since he was, he wanted to become king of the world, and we know now that Im-sama is the king of the world. So I think a more likely explanation is that they said that he was interested in these taboo subjects of the world. So maybe his interest and his research and looking through all these taboo things led him to God Valley, which he discovered Im-sama and stuff like that, and then they took him out. Or maybe, perhaps, I'll put my own theory out here, that God Valley is the birthplace of Im-sama, or something like that. I think he figured out, or found out about Im-sama, and that connects to him wanting to become the king of the world, and that connects to him meeting his downfall at God Valley, because I don't think Rox is still alive, but Im-sama is definitely alive. So if they can somehow tie a way in to where Rox was, he was kind of trying to usurp the authority of Im-sama, it would show Im-sama's power that he was able to, take this shit down. I mean, I guess he relied on Garp and Roger to do the heavy lifting, but one of the guys is still alive and one of them's dead. So it kind of builds Im-sama up as like, all right, you can try to usurp me, but I'm omnipotent. You can't take me down. But yeah, this one's definitely plausible because I have really no evidence against it. Like, I'm trying to argue against it right now, and I'm probably not even doing a very good job of it. But it just doesn't feel right, like for this guy to be Im-sama and that's it. Like, all right, they got this guy who was a pirate going around doing all this shit, and they had an incident at God Valley where they supposedly took him down. And, instead of taking him down, he actually became the secret king of the world. I don't know. Maybe it's true, but I don't feel like it's true. Okay, so I want to go more in depth with this one than I did in the video. First of all, Rox being Im-sama would kind of go against the whole thing that the people with the will of D are the natural enemies of the celestial dragons and the world government. Having one being the king of the world and a D would kind of go against that. Again, this is not definitive evidence to say that he's not Im-sama, but
I just don't feel like those two fit together. And then secondly, if he is Im Sama, then you could suppose that his purpose of going to God Valley was something to do with becoming the king of the world. And, they confused, because their story is that, and I feel like they honestly believe this, is that Garp and Roger took down rocks. But somehow they confused that with him becoming the king of the world. You kind of have to believe that you can confuse someone taking someone down or potentially killing someone. Like, they think he's dead. So you have to confuse killing someone with them actually running the world government, and then no one in the Marines, like the highest Marines, they don't even know about it. So that is kind of unusual when you put it like that. But again, there's no definitive proof against him not, or there's no definitive proof saying that he's not Im Sama. So I definitely have to say this one's plausible. There's just a couple weird things about it that don't completely make sense. So I can't say like I definitely believe this theory, because I definitely don't believe this theory, but I can't say it's not true. Theory number 6. Dragon was somehow involved with the God Valley incident.
All right, for the last for last theory in this video, we are going with a theory that Dragon was somehow in some way involved with the God Valley incident. Now, I totally think this one is 100% plausible. Now, there's a lot of different theories surrounding it. Some people say Dragon might have been a slave at God Valley to one of the Celestial Dragons. Some people say he might have been a Marine fighting under Garp. Some people say he might have been on Roger's Pirates crew fighting under Roger. No matter which one you say, he was part of the God Valley incident because he was there. Now, I think this one's definitely plausible because he was 17 during the God Valley incident. Now, this is kind of a coincidence, but that's how old Luffy was during, at the very beginning of the series. Luffy was 17 years old. But that's not really evidence. I think the main reason I think this is plausible because there had to be some sort of formative event in his, probably late teens, early adulthood, to where, or maybe even childhood, but there was some formative event that, made this guy hate the world government, that something turned in his brain, something clicked. He saw something and he was like, fuck this. I'm going to start a revolutionary army, or I'm going to join a revolutionary army, whichever he did. But there was definitely some formative event. Now, we have no evidence, nothing to suggest we know what this formative event was, or, even if there was one. I think there kind of had to be one, but we don't know for sure what this event was. So I think it's totally plausible and totally reasonable to believe that something with the God Valley incident had to do with him becoming a revolutionary, because it would definitely explain a lot of things. It would be easy to explain things. It would tie him into the story. I mean, he was around during the story. He was 17. So if his dad was off fighting rocks, what was he doing, So it would bring him into the story, and I think it would make a lot of sense. There's probably a lot of different ways they could fit him into that story of God Valley to where he comes out of it being like, fuck this. Maybe he was there and he saw the slaves and the Celestial Dragons, and he saw that his dad was defending him. He was just like, what the fuck is going on? I don't want anything to do with this. So, yeah, I don't think, I could say this one's totally true or it's totally going to come true, but I would definitely not be surprised if this one was true. There's definitely a very reasonable link to be made between God Valley and Dragon, him being there. There's also a reason to believe, he wasn't there, because there's no evidence to say he was there. So I'm going to say this one's definitely plausible, though.
Okay, a little bonus theory here would be Dragon has a higher bounty than Gol D. Roger. Now, this one's definitely plausible, and if you want to bank on one theory in this video coming true, it's this one, because they did say in the chapter that Roger's bounty is the highest bounty in pirating history, which definitely leaves the door open for Dragon having a higher bounty. Now, all that statement says is that there's someone that wasn't a pirate that could have had a higher bounty than Roger. So it's not necessarily saying it's Dragon, but I don't think Oda would have made that distinction unless it was someone we currently know in the story that has the higher bounty than Roger. And I don't think there's anyone better suited for that than Dragon. So I'm going to say Dragon does probably have a higher bounty than Roger did. All right, that closes out this episode of One Piece Theory Busters. Let me know what you think in the comments of how you feel about this video and this type of format and talking about theories. I definitely want to do more of these in the future. And if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.